My name is Cody. I'm a psychotherapist and coach. This is why no matter what you do, you can't move on after your avoidant ex dumped you. Whether your avoidant ex discarded you slowly over time by breadcrumbing you with just enough attention to keep you on the hook, or they broke up with you abruptly, usually by sending a text saying something like, hey, I can't do this anymore, or I want to focus on myself, you are finding it impossible to move on with your life. I'm going to give you the key for how to finally get out of this stuck place, and I'm going to use an analogy. But first, we have to acknowledge that a trauma bonded relationship is distinctly different than a healthy relationship. And trauma bonding is when we get attached to someone not out of healthy love and consistency, but out of pain. So let's compare two different types of trees. There is a trauma bonded tree, and then there's a healthy relationship tree. In your healthy relationship, maybe it lasted years. It was a long-term relationship. Those roots are going to grow very deep into the earth, but they're healthy roots. Now compare that to a trauma bonded tree. Maybe this was more of a situationship that wasn't clearly defined and it only lasted a couple months. Those roots aren't going to grow as deep into the ground, but because of the trauma bonding that happened, these roots are going to be all twisted and knotted and ensnarled together. So when you try to move on, it's going to feel really, really difficult to get these roots out of the ground. And again, when I say roots, I mean a mental attachment to this ex. But here's something else that we have to acknowledge. There is a large majority of you that are probably watching at home that aren't truly trying to move on. And this is what I mean by this, is that you are keeping one of these roots to your avoidant ex still attached to the ground. And you're doing this because you are so terrified of the waves of grief that are going to hit you once you finally sever that last root. Because at that point, part of you realizes that you are going to actually be able to move on at that point. And it's hard for you to fathom a life without this person. But this is the thing, is that you will never be able to move on until you sever that last root, because you can't plant a new tree on top of old roots. It's not going to work. And this is what avoidantly attached people attempt to do. And it's at the core of their dysfunction. They're constantly trying to plant roots into the ground, but only halfway down, so that way they can always pull it up when they need to. And when it doesn't work out, instead of uprooting the old roots and taking a look at their actions and holding themselves accountable and truly trying to heal, they simply distract themselves by planting a new tree on top of the old roots. And this is a self-defeating cycle that perpetuates itself. But this is what I want you to realize if you're someone who is truly trying to move forward and find someone who is going to be emotionally available for you. Grief is very much like a paper tiger, where it's not going to physically hurt you and it's not going to be as scary as you think it is, because it very much is an illusion. You're telling yourself that you can't live without this person, but the reality is you're already probably living without this person. You're just living with a mental attachment to them. What you're gonna have to realize at a certain point is that letting this person go fully is an act of hope in the future that things are going to work out okay. You're never going to feel 100% confident with cutting this person out of your life. There's probably going to be a degree of mixed feelings, and that's okay. But it's not fair to you to put your life on hold for someone who sees you as simply another option, nor do you want to continue to self-abandon more than you already have. I hope this video was helpful. If it was, make sure to click the like button. And if you're really struggling to feel your emotions and process this past breakup, you can DM me help now or go to my website, codyweldon.com, and schedule a one-on-one.